Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Velez and Sons podcast. I am your host, JC Velez, here with my brother,
Thomas Velez. Good to see you guys. Hope everyone's been doing good.
It's good to be back. We have a lot of important and interesting topics for you all today. Things like, the stock market crashing, the crypto market on the downturn, inflation at a 40-year high. We have shortages of food, of semiconductors, of cars. It's a mess.
Interest rates are going up.
Interest rates continue to go up as they have this whole year. So let us begin with stock market. Stock market, crypto market. Yesterday was a really bad day for both S&P 500, yearly low, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, Bitcoin, all of it. Let's get into it.
So everybody knows the big crypto, Bitcoin. So it's
the biggest crypto.
It's the biggest crypto. It plummeted. So what do you think about that? What can you tell us?
Well, I know that Bitcoin had hit a nearly $70,000 per coin high back in, I think it was Thanksgiving, mid-November, 2021, and is sitting right now at about $28,000 per coin. So we're looking at almost 40% drop off. And not just Bitcoin, the other big ones, Ethereum, Cardano.
Some of the smaller ones like Dogecoin.
All those funky altcoins. No hate to any of you Dogecoin or Shiba holders, but all of that's down, down, down. So we all know that the crypto market is volatile. Not too surprised, as it's always going up and down. It's a little harder to gauge those markets than, say, the stock market. But even something as steady or tried and true as the stock market has also been on the decline since 2022 hit. It's not looking good. Investors, hold on tight. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Now we have a lot of Wall Street experts and financial experts talking about a looming recession, most likely to happen in 2023. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's to be expected. To be completely honest with you, we know that the economy, quite frankly, is catching up in terms of everything that happened during the pandemic. So, like everybody knows, interest rates were really low in order to stimulate the economy because it was halted during the pandemic. But all that overstimulating to the economy eventually will catch up with us.
Yeah, it's like a boomerang effect.
I was pretty young, but you remember it just as well as I do, the 2008 recession.
Oh yeah.
So a really big one, the biggest since the Great Depression, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was basically jump-started by the collapse of the real estate market, which was the sub-loan or subprime loan fiasco, which is all the people that were getting mortgages with, no income verification. Subprime means that it's, basically like less than ideal. So a lot of people that shouldn't have been able to get homes were getting them and then defaulting. So you had hundreds of thousands of foreclosures all across the country, people losing their homes. You had home insurance, like the mortgage insurance companies like AIG, that insure mortgages in case they fall through. There were so many mortgages that defaulted that they didn't even have the capital to cover all those losses, so they went under. And then that caused a worldwide
It's like a
recession.
domino effect, right?
Here, this basically what we're living today is a result of the COVID pandemic. In this country, what we did was interest rates were lowered to historically low rates. We're talking between 2% and 3%. A lot of people were refinancing. A lot of people wanted to buy to take advantage of that. So that is hurting us now in a sense. Another thing that is hurting the economy is the trillions upon trillions of dollars that were printed for the stimulus checks to try to keep people afloat during the pandemic. I don't know if you know this, but 40% of all dollar bills that are in circulation today, 40% were printed in the last 2 years.
Really?
So the U.S. dollar has been around
half.
For how many years? 250 years at least, right?
Yeah.
So 40% of all those were printed from 2020 to today. That absolutely blows my mind. So now we have, look, I'm a dad. there's a baby formula supply shortage. There's a semiconductor shortage. There is a shortage of goods all across the board. We live here in Orange County, not too far from the coast. If you go on a hike and you have an ocean view, not so much recently, but back in November, December, I could see all the boats that were, lining the coastline because they couldn't, offload all their products.
Not enough workers,
and they
right?
were sitting there for months. And as a result, just to boost the morale, the government has told those ships to anchor further from the coastline so people don't see all the boats. Because it makes us look bad. It makes the country look like we're in some sort of crisis, which I don't want to ring the panic bells. We are a bit. Interest rates, like I was talking about with Dad on the Spanish version of this, they're at 5.5% now. Back in April, May 2020, people were getting rates of 2.5%.
So we're looking at a
2.25.
3% increase, which to regular people, that doesn't seem like a lot, right?
But that translates to hundreds, a lot of money if you're getting a new loan.
Exactly. So, I can attest to this in terms of I work for an investor, so on the real estate aspect of it. And, my job all day, I'm just scouring the MLS, in search of properties, of flips, of things of that nature. And, to be honest with you, it's a really hard time in terms of there's not a lot of inventory. Right now, people are starting to acknowledge the fact that the interest rates are going back up. So, things that they qualified for maybe 6 months ago, they no longer qualify for because the interest rates have gone up substantially.
Right.
So that hurts everyday people because you're just not going to be able to afford a home. And you pair that with the fact that there's very low inventory, it makes it very hard to buy a home. And right now, you said in the Spanish version, Orange County just hit the average price for a home is over $1 million.
It's crazy.
So we're reaching lengths never before seen. I've never seen anything like this before in my lifetime. You're a little bit older. I know you haven't as well. So everybody's really new to this. Everybody's trying their best to navigate these waters that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, the things we're doing, trying to educate the everyday consumer, everyday people that don't know a lot about not even just the economy, real estate, loans, all very intimidating things. So I think everybody's trying the very best they can. But in terms of where do you see us a year from now, what do you think?
As far as a year from now, I'm no expert. I'm no Warren Buffett.
So it's a financial advice, guys.
I'm not an industry leader in economics or anything, but from what I've read, and I try to keep myself up to date with economic developments, the financial world, it almost seems like a recession is inevitable. A lot of people feel the constraints of inflation. They can't afford a house. They really can't afford cars because even used cars have gone way up in price because of shortages, grocery costs, everyday goods, staples. They're way up. They're way up, and this is kind of like the first step in feeling the effects of a recession. Unlike the recession of 2008, this one's a little different because it wasn't caused by the collapse of the real estate market. This is backlash from COVID and policies that were enacted as a result of COVID. So you're talking about inventory still being low.
Yeah.
Now, because of what happened in 2008, banks were much more strict with their lending practices. They had to clean it up, and they really couldn't give mortgages to people that couldn't absolutely handle the risk of a mortgage. So like if you have an investment property and you wanted to buy another home for yourself, you needed to prove that you have 6 months of savings, of reserves in the bank in case you lost your job. I mean, it really flipped.
Yeah.
So nowadays, most people that have homes, they're very well capacitated to handle a crisis. So they're holding on to the homes. So all those foreclosures that flooded the market in 2008, 2009, that's really not the case here. So you're not going to see that astronomical drop in prices that you saw from like 2006 when the market was at its peak to 2009, 2010, where a house that was worth, say, $700 in 2006 was down to like $300, $350 in 2009. you're not going to see something like that. It's a whole different animal as far as, people work from home now. We have this supply chain crisis. A lot of people don't want to go back to the workplace. I mean, I can't really point to some other time in history where there was more job openings than unemployed people.
Yeah.
It's usually the opposite. So it makes you think, are people not wanting to work? Why aren't they filling up these jobs? The economy is almost like in this reverse dimension, where the job opportunities are there and people don't want to take them. A lot of people would rather, collect an unemployment check or benefits or whatever the case may be. So a year from now, yikes, it almost makes me scared to think. But as far as the real estate market goes, as far as that aspect, I think interest rates will be higher than they are today. The Fed has already indicated that they will raise their rates at least 2 more times before the end of this year. And we're already sitting at 5.5 for a 30-year fixed rate.
So we could be looking upwards of like 6.5
at least by the start of next year. So that's the highest it's been since maybe the last recession we had. Talking to Dad, he's been around the block. There was a big recession in the 80s, and interest rates back then were at 14, 15, 16%, which blows my mind. I can't even imagine what that would mean for a monthly payment if you're buying a house for the first time.
I know I couldn't do it.
I mean, we can barely do it now. I know a lot of young people that have gone to college, done things right, set a career for themselves, gotten good, steady jobs in the tech industry and engineering, and they still can't afford a home.
So I think we're seeing, I mentioned that everything is uncharted waters. So it's just like you said, right now, maybe 20 years ago, friends of yours or people that acquaintances who did everything that you're supposed to do in terms of you go to school, you get good grades, you go to a good university, top of your class, you get a good job, and then eventually you graduate, you're able to get that good job, buy a home, live out the American dream. But times have changed.
Yeah.
And, we're seeing things that, experts knew to be true. They're not true anymore. I just read an article the other day saying that everybody's leaving, the big popular counties, your Orange counties, LA counties. Riverside County is a super high in demand place right now, San Bernardino County. All those places that you used to go and able to get something cheap and affordable, like I said, I scour the MLS all day and I see that homes over there, they're close to what they are here. Not in terms of, location, but just the overall price. They're skyrocketing.
Yeah.
And it's really tough because you had mentioned to me earlier saying that rent used to be a way for people to kind of be in a zone to where they can save to eventually buy a house.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not really seeing that now. You can attest to it. Your rent is through the roof. And every year they want to raise it substantially.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like whatever avenue you explore,
it's a dead end.
It's a dead end. Nothing is easier than the other option. Because you could, rent an apartment, say, hey, I'll rent for 2-3 years while I save for a nice down payment.
Yeah.
But now with the rent hikes and the increases across the board for all expenses, you're so strapped for money. If you can still save anything, it's a win. But it's not nearly enough to save you what you need for a down payment with the way the prices are, with the interest rates going up. If you're making $200,000 a year, combined income, you have options.
Yeah.
You can do it. But how many people under 30 years of age do you know that are making $200,000 a year? Not very many.
Not a lot.
I don't know very many people. So the advice for those people is sit tight. Your opportunity will arise.
Yep.
It will come. Your time will come. Just save money where you can. A lot of young people especially, they love the crypto market. But unfortunately, what I think the perception of people in crypto, a lot of them, is they see it as a get rich quick kind of scheme. They're not playing the long game.
Yeah.
They're not looking to, hey, you know what? I'm going to put my money in here and I'm going to let it sit for 5, 10 years, see what happens.
It's a game of chess.
They want to flip it and wait for the next big price increase and sell it off quick. So if you're going to invest in something highly volatile like crypto, hopefully it's money that you can afford to put away. And you're not shooting yourself in the foot, like, this is money that I'm going to use for groceries, but Bitcoin's going to go up like crazy, and I'll get it back in 5 months. That shouldn't be your strategy.
All your eggs in one basket.
No, people in the stock market, it's the same. I know people that have been in the stock market for 30 years, and now they're seeing great returns, great yields on initial investments, but they've had that money there for 25, 30 years. So it is a long game. Eventually you're going to want to retire or maybe shift a career, and you're going to want to have a source of income or savings. So be patient. I will always stress to our loyal and wonderful viewers that real estate is a great asset because it's tangible. You can sit in it. It's a roof over your head, and real estate historically always goes up. There are bumps in the road. But if you have a property and you have it for 10 years, it's almost a guarantee that it'll be worth more than when you bought it for.
Especially here in sunny SoCal.
In good old SoCal, California is a very popular state. Even today, there's still people from other states that want to come here for the weather, for the benefits, for the industries. You still have a lot of tech jobs. You still have a lot of, entertainment jobs. If you're in the real estate profession, we're talking about a state of 30 million people or something like that. So there's always going to be demand for homes and investments and all that. So don't lose faith. Time will come. The opportunity will arise. You will know it. If you're ready to buy now, do it. If you have the income, if you have the savings, it's better than throwing your money away on overpriced rent. That's always the case.
I'll give you a good example. So just to give everybody kind of a sense of where we are. So I had some clients recently come up, and they got pre-qualified with that and everything, and they got qualified for $600K. And they told me that they were looking to buy in the area of Pomona, Phillips Ranch, Chino Hills. And I searched the MLS, and I kid you not, there was only 4 listings.
Wow.
And they told me, specifically they were looking for 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a lot of 8,000 square feet. And they didn't believe me when I told them that there was no homes. So, those 4 listings I sent them, they weren't up to their standards. So, we shifted focus to Ontario, Upland, Claremont, Montclair, Azusa. I went for a huge, broad search. Yeah. And in all of those cities, 10 listings.
Wow.
Combined.
So we're in the industry. We understand why that's the case.
Yeah.
It's been the case for the better part of 2 years. For someone like your clients that maybe they don't know, it might be a shock to hear that all those cities, with maybe tens of thousands of homes, there's only 10 for sale.
And, to what I told them, because they said, how was that possible? 3 years ago, there was a surplus. What's going on? So, at times you might even have a certain disbelief in your agent or somebody like that. But, as our dad alluded to in the Spanish version of our podcast, again, any talk that we have about cryptocurrency or the state of the economy or anything, we're not financial advisors. We speak to what we know in terms of real estate, in terms of loans. We have a lot of years of experience through the 3 of us. So like you said, right now, trust the people that know what they're talking about, the people that are in that industry. They're going to do their very best to help navigate you through, these uncharted waters. But it's like you said, I think right now, the time is now, especially if within the next year or so, we're heading into a recession. If you have that house that you were on the hinge about selling it or keeping it, in times like this, you don't want to look back a year from now and say, dang, I wish I would have sold. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. So it's like you said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. But right now, it's a great time to sell. it's a great time to get some extra cash on hand to buckle down, because, I'm not saying that's going to be anything like 2008, but some tougher times from, what we've been living recently are ahead. And we have to make sure that everybody's put in a really good place to navigate and to get through this. And hopefully it's not too long, and, our economy always bounces back. So
yeah, it's an ebb and flow. There's always peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
But if you are in the market to sell, if you have thought about selling and cashing out what you think is a highly priced property, it is the best time.
Yeah.
Because, the last big peak of the market was 2006. And the economy hit a halt, and it didn't really start to recover until around 2012.
4 years.
So, it takes sometimes longer than other instances, but in this case, if we are on track for a recession, your home price will go down. So, from here to the end of the year, the prices will be as high as they can go. You can maximize on that. You can move out of state, move to a cheaper county, maybe buy a bigger house, or just have money sitting in the bank.
Set yourself up.
Set yourself up for the future, reinvest it in some other sector that you're interested in. But that's where we are. Tune in next time for the next episode. It seems like there's breaking news almost every day in the world of today. So until then.
As always, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for tuning in to our 4th episode of the Velez and Sons podcast. As always, click on our link. Check out our website, velezendsons.com. Thank you guys so much. Take care.